What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Chris Evans here with Zero Meter Chasers live on this Wednesday afternoon here in a massive, hot heat wave here in Kentucky. We have not been feeling this high temperatures in Kentucky really all year long. We have not had temperatures, heat indices this high in Kentucky really for the past couple of months. I think we've only had a couple of days, even with days of temperatures 90 degrees or above. So definitely one of the hotter days so far here in Kentucky. This is looking at the Weatherfront website here, kind of looking at the I-65 corridor, and you'll see the urban heat island is active here in Louisville with heat indices exceeding 100 degrees. In downtown Louisville currently. We also have 100 degrees in Owensboro and Evansville too. So just this was at 1:45 here. So just early afternoon, we're already getting those heat values at 100 degrees or above. So definitely a hot afternoon as we get into our Wednesday and as we get into our Thursday. Very dry temperatures though. As we look at the satellite here, kind of pop that up on the Weatherfront website, you will see that we don't have very many clouds here in Kentucky. We have a couple of cirrus clouds as it's struggling to load a little bit here. Let me try to go the natural color and see if we can get it to load here. It might actually be here, so let me try that. Try to get you guys rolling here with a satellite view. If it does not work, we will get it fixed for the next one. That's a little better. Now let's just try to go GeoColor on the full. That should fix it here. But you will see we do have a couple of stratus clouds, just high clouds across our state as we look at 2 o'clock here. But no, after our active weather the last couple of days, not expecting any precipitation as we get into later on our Wednesday and our Thursday. And again, those heat indices, heat index values are going to be the main concern as we get into our Thursday afternoon. And I'm going to show that here on the HRRR as it loads. But this is looking here as we get to Wednesday afternoon, and you can see those heat values again will stay in the mid to upper 90s as we get into our Wednesday afternoon. And as the sun goes down, obviously those heat values will go down. But if we fast forward again to Thursday afternoon, you will see the HRRR is showing a lot of those heat indices in the mid 90s, approaching 100 degrees again tomorrow as well. So this is kind of just covering the heat in Kentucky. We're going to continue to build that heat in for the next couple of days here in Kentucky. It's going to be hot, humid, but we're not going to have that storm chance. If you look at yesterday, if you have any rainfall amounts, make sure you put it in the chat. And I'm going to pull up the KY Mesonet website real quick, and we'll look at the rainfall totals from yesterday. I know that a lot of areas received 3 to 5 inches of rain, especially along the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways. And we'll take a look at that here on the Kentucky Mesonet website in 1 second. But if you have any observations or any like a weather data station at your house, and you have any precipitation values from showers and storms as we got into our Tuesday as well as our Monday. And those repeated rounds and storms did lead to some flash flooding here in Kentucky yesterday. But thankfully, as we got into the afternoon, that complex in Illinois and Indiana did not cause any more widespread flooding as we got into our Wednesday. Or as we got into our Tuesday night and Wednesday morning here. But now we're going to look at the KY Mesonet precipitation for the last 48 hours here. And if we turn off the alerts in the radar, you will see the winner for the rain values in the last 2 days has been along the Western Kentucky and Bluegrass Parkways, with areas in there receiving anywhere from 3 to 4 inches of rain. Let me do one thing here. All right, sorry guys. The one thing I need right now is just to make sure that my audio is working in the chat. So if you guys can hear me, maybe just press one, type 1, 2, just put a number or say audio is working fine, just so I know I got this audio up. As there did look to be a little buffer, and I might have lost audio there for a second. But right now we're looking at the KY Mesonet website, and again, you can see those rain values the last 48 hours, anywhere from 2 to 4 inches. So the winner for the rainfall totals. We're really along the Western Kentucky parkways near E-Town, near Lexington, anywhere along the Bluegrass and Western Kentucky parkways, seeing those repeated rounds of showers and storms as we got into our Tuesday afternoon. So good news is we're going to kind of dry out as we get into today and into tomorrow. But those heat indices will be rising again, anywhere from the mid to upper 90s to approaching 100 degrees as we get into our Thursday afternoon. So what I did want to do now is we're going to kind of switch gears on this video and kind of cover the severe risk that we have out in Illinois. So if you give me 1 second, I'm going to change this banner here. I'll get you. This is a look at the SPC outlook for today. And we are going to cover this live on this video. And we will look at tomorrow's risk as well, as it does look like a storm chasing day is going to be activated in Illinois for myself. And I do want to kind of cover some data and things that I'm seeing with this setup. So if you have any questions about Kentucky, you can put it in the chat. But just the next 2 days, really just significant heat, those heat indices approaching 90 to 95 degrees. So just make sure you stay weather aware if you're in Kentucky. And if you have to work outside or you're outside in the afternoon, just make sure you drink plenty of water and stay hydrated, as those dew point values will remain high as we get into the next couple of days. So now to kind of switch gears here, this is today's severe weather outlook in portions of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. You will see a level 3 out of 5 enhanced risk has been issued, and this is largely for that 30% wind risk, a SIG-1 wind risk. And right now, there are actually confirmed destructive severe thunderstorm warnings within this 30% wind risk, and I will show that on the radar real quick. And there is now a tornado warning in Wisconsin. But if you look, a nasty MCS or nasty line of storms is developing here along the Wisconsin and Illinois border. And again, this is a destructive 80-mile-an-hour wind, severe thunderstorm warning just to the east of Du Bois. And all of this is kind of moving to the northeast. So it's all headed kind of towards Madison, Wisconsin. Dodgeville right now is under this current tornado warning. And if we take a look at velocity here, just real quick, you can see there might be a quick spin up tornado here, kind of on the top end of that QLCS, maybe a kind of a bookend vortice on the leading edge of this QLCS. But a couple of at least 3 destructive severe thunderstorm warnings already. So we are definitely seeing that wind risk already verify here in portions of Wisconsin and Illinois. Looking at our tornado risk, we do have a tornado risk, but it is not from this current complex of storms. This 10% tornado risk is kind of at the triple point of the Quad Cities region. And this is more for your convection behind the possibility of supercells behind this line of storms that is currently in Illinois and Wisconsin. And that could lead to an elevated tornado threat, although a lot of the model data that I have looked at in the last 12 to 8, where I'll say the last 6 hours, has really downtrended that tornado threat. I do think that you could have some quick QLCS spin-up tornadoes today, but I think the damaging wind risk is by far the main risk as we get into today with these storms. But you will look too, we do have a 30% SIG hail risk, so that's a pretty significant hail risk too. So large hailstones are possible with any supercells that get going later today. But to kind of cover tomorrow, if we look at the risk for tomorrow, you will see it shifts east a little bit, kind of focusing more on the central and northern Illinois and Wisconsin and Michigan border here. And this is, again, a level 3 out of 5. And this is where I am going to have a storm chase day that is going to be activated tomorrow for this level 3 out of 5. Looking at some of the data in the SPC wording, I do think I can pull that up here. So let's do that real quick. We'll kind of look at some of the wording. with you guys here. If you give me 1 second, I will get the best that we can here. Okay. So, looking in the morning hours, we're going to have more of an MCS complex that's going to move through, very similar to today, where we have one line of storms that kind of move through during the morning hours, and then another line of storms that come through in the afternoon. That morning line of storms could leave an outflow boundary for more supercells to fire in the afternoon. The SPC is saying that. This may include storms with potential to produce severe hail, perhaps being rooted in destabilizing boundary layer with spreading, with forcing across northern Illinois through Thursday afternoon. And it does look like the damaging wind risk again is another 30% SIG 1. And again, it looks like two different rounds of damaging wind risks. But as we get into tomorrow, really looking at the setup, we're going to have a warm front that is going to be draped along here, along the Wisconsin and Illinois border. And I think that is really the corridor when we look at the tornado probabilities for your best tornado risk as we get into tomorrow. Anywhere along and south of that warm front, and kind of along that greatest the wind streak, the jet streak, and you have your best tornado values long and just south of that warm front. We will look at a little bit of model data here as we get going, but I think again anywhere in north central Illinois, southern Wisconsin, and eastern Illinois. Davenport, Illinois was my initial target yesterday. I might have to get a little bit north, but for those of you that don't know, I do coach football. So every day after football, I kind of come and look at model data and do this as we have practice in the morning. So tomorrow I will be leaving for my target area as soon as practice is over. So I'm going to be looking at data all day today, kind of deciding on exactly where I want to play as we get into tomorrow. And we will look at the HRRR and kind of see what it's showing for later today into tomorrow. But I will be in somewhere in north central Illinois as we get into tomorrow evening, kind of covering this enhanced risk of severe weather as we get into our Thursday. So this does transition east as we get into Friday. So, but as I look at model data more, the surface low has kind of trended further northeast, which is why you have that slight risk issued for portions of the Northeast in Pittsburgh and New York. But I do not think that the severe risk in Kentucky is going to be as high as I initially thought. It's more of a weaker. We're going to have a cold front, but we have no low pressure attached with it. So the theme of the year in Kentucky, at least, has been weak wind shear, not getting a lot of storms or low pressures to track in the region to generate enough wind shear to cause storms, and that looks to continue this weekend. We could have another round of maybe some showers and storms this weekend into our Friday, but widespread severe weather does not look expected in Kentucky. So what I wanted to do now was kind of look at model data for the rest of today into tomorrow. I'm going to do two different things here. The first thing I'm going to do is kind of look at our jet streak or our jet stream and see where the wind energy is most favorable for severe weather as we get into today and into tomorrow. And then we'll kind of look at some reflectivity and maybe some STP values or some supercell composite values as well. So looking at the 12Z HRRR here, as we get into the afternoon, you can see 40 to 45 knots of shear is getting ejected into our enhanced risk as we get into today. And that's what is fueling that QLCS or that strong damaging wind threat as we get into later today. That strong jet streak will kind of go throughout the region. And then as we get into Thursday, here's the reason why Thursday looks more significant than today. So if we look, I'm going to go back one more time here. This is our jet streak for today. And the stronger, really, the darker the colors are, if you're not familiar with looking at the 500 millibar, the stronger the colors are, the stronger your winds are in the upper atmosphere. So as we get into our overnight, you can really see our trough is really starting to eject, and this jet streak is really starting to position itself here near Minnesota and ejecting towards our enhanced risk as we get into Thursday. And that really starts to happen with your surface low development here near Minneapolis, and then your right exit region being right here in a strong jet streak. I mean, this type of setup is not very normal for June 11th in the Midwest. It is a stronger low. And this is more of a March type of setup just because of the kind of thermos that we have along with the wind shear that we have as well. So strong jet streak as we're going into Wednesday afternoon. Strong jet streak, especially as we get into Thursday afternoon, is going to lead to widespread QLCS, possibly a derecho in central Illinois as we get into tomorrow. I do think that the damaging wind risk tomorrow is very high, especially because of how strong this jet streak is. But I think the biggest question is do we get some of these short waves that have been showing up in the data here, which is kind of these kinks in the flow? Do we get it far south enough of the warm front that we kind of get away from that messy convection? Because I think the farther north you get, the more forcing you get because of the stronger the wind shear is. So I do think as we get like along and north of the warm front, you will have a hail risk, but the damaging wind risk will be very high up here because of how quickly storms will go linear. Personally, I'm more targeting around the 4 or 5 o'clock, kind of this short wave right here that's showing up in northern Illinois that I'm hoping to spark some supercells here in eastern Iowa or western Illinois. So that's kind of what I'm looking at the upper wind pattern. If we go back and look at the reflectivity here, I do want to look at today and tomorrow. So we're going to kind of look at everything here. And here is the latest HRRR showing that damaging wind risk that is already ongoing, that QLCS that is forming and pushing off to the northeast near Madison. So if you live in Madison, Wisconsin, or you know anybody that lives in Madison, Wisconsin, make sure to let them know that a damaging wind threat is going to be pushing through around the 4 to 5 o'clock time frame. Then as we push through the afternoon, this will push east into the Milwaukee time frame and near Chicago around 6 o'clock. So I do not think the tornado threat is that high with these storms as we get into later this afternoon today in Illinois, but I do think that we will have a more elevated damaging wind risk as we're already seeing some destructive severe thunderstorm warnings. Another line of storms looks to develop maybe off an outflow boundary here in southern Iowa into western Illinois, in northern Missouri. And that will kind of move off and die off as we get into the overnight. That is where in Kentucky, though, I know I got a lot of Kentucky followers, as this complex moves out from Illinois, we will have to see if there's any rain. I don't think it'll make it all the way down here. It'll lay out an outflow boundary, and it'll probably stall out just south of I-70, just south of Indianapolis, as we get into our Thursday morning. But other than that, that's the only slight rain chance I'm tracking in Kentucky for the next 2 days. Basically, everything else will have attention kind of turned up here on our risk. And then as we get into Thursday morning, we kind of talked about the multiple waves of storms. So here is that morning MCS that was highlighted on the SPC, or highlighted by the SPC, northeast of Des Moines, Iowa, pushing into northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. And the evolution of this right here will determine everything. So does it leave an outflow boundary in the morning for afternoon supercells to fire before we get the strongest wind shear, or does it not arrive at all? You know, sometimes the high-res data kind of shows this and it doesn't arrive at all. When you have so many waves of storms like this, it can kind of throw high-res data into a loop, because if one of the storm tracks are off compared to what the model data shows, it throws everything else off. So that's why, especially in the summertime, you get high shifting in the model data, because one of a lot of these MCVs or MCS complexes can change the complex or the track of the next one. So that's kind of what I'm watching Thursday morning. And we'll have to watch that complex very closely, and we'll have to watch the warm front closely as it starts to advance. And I do want to show that next, but as that warm front kind of advances and that MCS moves off, it might leave an outflow boundary, and you can see the HRRR, it's already showing discrete convection here in eastern Iowa and western Illinois, south of the warm front, pushing east around 3 o'clock Thursday afternoon. I'm hoping to be in near Davenport by 5 o'clock, so that's really good timing for me. And again, you will see if we can get, as you get north and the stronger of the jet streak up here, it's going to get really messy. Depending on how north that warm front gets, we could still get a tornado in this messy setup, but I personally would not want to chase that. So I'm not targeting southern Wisconsin in my personal opinion, but I am targeting kind of this confluence band or a band of supercells that the HRRR is kind of showing early afternoon near Davenport. And then those will eventually turn into a nasty squall line as we get into our Thursday afternoon. And I do think, depending on, how quickly this advances into a line, we could have 80-mile-an-hour wind gusts near Peoria and near Chicago late tomorrow afternoon and evening. So that is kind of what I'm looking at for tomorrow. I do want to show the warm front tomorrow as well. So let's go ahead and look at our temperature values. Kind of see how that warm front progresses as we get into tomorrow, because 2026 has been the year of the warm front. So I think it'll be very interesting here to see what model data kind of shows. And you can see that warm front kind of advancing northward here. Let's get to our dew point values. Yeah, that's pretty far north there. So if this were true, I mean, you would have a tornado risk in places like Milwaukee, Madison, Rockford, and Davenport, anywhere along and south of that warm front. And I'll go ahead and draw for you guys here. Anywhere along and south of this warm front here, I think are most at risk for strong tornadoes tomorrow. I do think the northern half of the risk, again, in southern Wisconsin near Madison, I do think that it'll be more messy convection, more along the warm front. So I wouldn't chase that personally, but I do think that there is a significant tornado threat up there as well. I think I'm looking at the southern part of this is better travel for me as well. And I do think that we should get a supercell here to fire. So we will see what happens tomorrow. I do want to look at radar here and kind of just cover what is going on currently, kind of in the same location. And yeah, that is a nasty, nasty line of storms heading right into Madison, Wisconsin here. If we look at the reflectivity, you will see strong damaging winds here. We'll see what radar is kind of picking up on. About 50-mile-an-hour winds, so nothing too wild. But again, this is a destructive severe thunderstorm warning with 80-mile-an-hour winds just to the southwest of Madison, and this is headed directly into Madison. So again, if you know anybody in Madison, let them know that this is coming. Destructive 80-mile-an-hour severe thunderstorm warning. The real bow echo looks to be moving off just to the northwest of Madison. And then I am looking at that little bookend vortice here near Dodgeville. And I did want to take a second here. If you guys don't have the Weatherfront app, make sure that you guys download it. You can see we have Storm Chaser CJ Ziegler right here in Dodgeville, where you can pull him up live on the Weatherfront app and see exactly what this storm is doing. Again, we have 80-mile-an-hour winds with a tornado possible just to the southwest of Madison, and this is moving to the northeast, and we'll be in Madison within the next hour. So I'm going to pull up the double screen here, kind of look at everything. Looks like Super Res might be picking up on that. Yeah, it's picking up on those damaging winds a little bit more. So actually, the strongest of the damaging winds here, radar is picking up on about 80-mile-an-hour winds just to the north of Monroe. So if I circle this here, the strongest winds on radar are actually right here. And there is that severe thunderstorm warning. Looks like a destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Madison. For this, looks like that area right there. Radar's picking up on about 80-mile-an-hour winds. I got to get better at my drawing tool. That is terrible. That's funny. We'll be all right. Again, 80-mile-an-hour winds. Looking likely into Madison here. Tornado possible. Destructive severe thunderstorm warning for Madison. So a dangerous storm here. Again, if you guys know anybody that lives in Madison, make sure to let them know that this is coming. Again, nasty line of storms here. Southern Wisconsin and northern Illinois. Also have some severe thunderstorm warnings heading towards Rockford, Illinois, in northern Illinois here. But this is going to be a nasty, damaging wind complex. And I know there was some consideration of a moderate risk today for the damaging wind threat. Today looks like a very significant damaging wind threat. I do think that the tornado threat's not extremely high today, but I do think that we will have a higher tornado threat in basically the same area as we get into tomorrow. So I'm not going to cover this too long. Might hop on live later today and kind of cover this, cover the damaging wind threat in the afternoon, see if we get any of those isolated supercells behind this in that 10% tornado risk near Davenport. But personally, I am not too thrilled about the tornado threat today. So again, I will be live chasing tomorrow. There was an SPC report of 80-mile-an-hour winds. Again, that is confirmed here going in towards Madison. But again, we will have a live storm chasing update tomorrow. I'm going to have my live feed on the 0 Meter Chasers stream tomorrow. We will be covering the significant severe weather threat in Illinois. I believe Corey will be on the stream tomorrow, and we will have the live chaser feed on our stream tomorrow. So that's really what we're working for here at 0 Meter Chasers. We're trying to get everything set up to where we can get our chasers live on the ground, especially during Kentucky severe weather events. We want to provide you guys with that ground truth. What is actually happening on the ground, because, there are a lot of radar holes in eastern Kentucky where we don't know what storms are actually doing. So, our mission here at 0 Meter Chasers is just to get chasers on the ground for you guys and providing that live stream coverage as we get that. So we're looking to expand our coverage as well. Again, we're going to have this live stream tomorrow in Illinois, kind of having my stream and kind of setting everything up. So make sure you guys are following the 0 Meter page as we get into tomorrow, because we'll have live updates. I'll probably start my live stream tomorrow as I head up towards Illinois, and then we'll kind of go from there, kind of look at some model data together as I kind of make that drive up, and then we'll kind of decide where I want to target. I think right now it's around Davenport, just to the south of that warm front, but we'll kind of see what model data looks like and what happens today. But we still have that tornado warning here just to the north of Dodgeville. Expires in 16 minutes. Rotation does not look too crazy on this. We'll kind of put it in a loop here. Yeah, I mean, maybe on the north side, maybe right here by Arena, in between Arena and Spring Green, Wisconsin. But again, I still think that the damaging wind threat that is headed towards Madison will be the biggest risk here, as this is pushing on the door in Madison. And I did want to, we'll go back to single view here and kind of put a loop on this, maybe for about the past hour or so. So if you look, this was down by DuBois about an hour ago, and you'll see the progression as it's going towards Madison, and it's really starting to bow out just to the northwest of Madison. So you could still get that kind of bookend vortice tornado on the north side of this QLCS, but I think the damaging wind threat just to the west of Madison is the biggest risk. I do think that we could still see 80 to 85 mile an hour winds with this cell. So, again, I think that's going to be it from me today. I really appreciate everybody coming in here. If you guys have any questions or anything, make sure you put it in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from as well. I'm really looking to interact with you guys. So if you put anything on the chat, we can pop it up on the stream and kind of cover some things. I want to kind of zoom out. We'll kind of go down here to central Illinois near Peoria, where there is a severe thunderstorm warning. And that looks to be just to the west of Peoria, pushing in near Canton. And we'll see if there are any damaging winds with this. Maybe a little bit, but that doesn't look too bad. Yeah, just a 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, or a 60-mile-an-hour wind damaging wind threat, and it expires in 15 minutes going towards Peoria. This cell south of Rockford looks a little interesting on velocity. We'll kind of see if it's a part of a line of storms or more cellular. Yeah, it's more rain wrap, but it does have a little area of rotation here just to the southwest of Rockford, Illinois. Those are some strong damaging wind gusts as well. maybe 60 to 70 mile an hour wind gusts look possible with that. And yeah, a couple of areas of rotation, nothing too major with that. We'll kind of put this in a loop here for those of you in northern Illinois. I do think we'll have that damaging wind threat, especially north of, I would say anywhere from Milwaukee to just north of Chicago. And as we kind of put this in a loop here, you'll see this is all kind of building, and everything's kind of tracking to the northeast. So I do think Milwaukee will have a damaging wind threat as we get into the evening as well. Kind of switch radar sites a little closer here near Madison. I'm going to cover, I think, a little bit longer here. And then we're going to go, again, that is a really nasty Bow Echo showing up just to the west of Madison. If you look at that, a little Bow Echo right there where that arrow is being drawn. That's really the area I'm looking at for the most significant damaging wind. It's kind of bowing out on the north side of that. Remember, this is a destructive damaging wind for Madison, Wisconsin. So that's a big populated area. So if you guys know anybody in this area, please let them know that a destructive thunderstorm is coming in with 80 mile an hour winds. But radar is still kind of showing the heaviest of the winds kind of going right into the Madison area as well. Some of those winds have died off a little bit. Kind of look at on radar here and see. Yeah, still radar showing mid 70 winds with that. And that is going directly towards Madison. I mean, that looks to go almost right into downtown Madison. So definitely a destructive thunderstorm just to the southwest of Madison moving in. We'll go one more time to the model data, kind of look at the HRRR. We'll go to the latest HRRR and kind of see what it's showing for the rest of the day here. See if it shows any of that convection kind of forming. So here it is at 2 o'clock showing our widespread showers and storms along the Wisconsin and Illinois border. And it moves off, and yeah, again, it's not a lot of time here in our Hatch 10% risk, tornado risk today, for this to move out at 4 o'clock and us to destabilize enough to support a tornado threat. I think maybe if you're going to get that anywhere, it might be down here near Davenport, maybe just south of Davenport near Galesburg. That's kind of the area I'm watching. We'll look at a sounding here real quick and see. Yeah, the wind shear is just not that impressive. Some turning, not a lot of turning, but some turning. Strong Cape though, very strong Cape. The lapse rates tomorrow scare me as well. That's another possible fail mode for the setup. Been looking at it. The lapse rates are pretty low for today and tomorrow. We got about 6 degree lapse rates. You would like them around 7 or 8. So wish that was a little higher for tomorrow's setup. I am interested to see what the wind shear is like up here near Madison. So let's go one more hour, and we'll kind of request a sounding up here. Very strong. Look at that. Yeah, I knew the sounding up here. That is a very, very strong sounding. Look at the turning of winds, the lowest layer. A good sounding for definitely a damaging wind sounding with this QLCS. I mean, this is going to continue to cause 80 mile an hour winds anywhere between Madison and Milwaukee. That is an impressive sounding. But we could still have another complex. That's kind of that secondary area of complex here just to the north of Kansas City. I wonder if before these grow upscale near St. Joseph, I wonder if there's a tornado, a little bit of a tornado risk. I do think these are going to grow upscale pretty quickly. 4,000 Cape, a little bit of turning at the surface. I mean, we could maybe squeak out a tornado if you're lucky here, maybe around 4 or 5 o'clock, maybe next couple of hours. But these storms are going to grow up upscale. You'll see so quickly as we get into Missouri later tonight. So I just don't see much of a supercell or a widespread tornado risk. I do think the damaging wind risk today is very high. But you'll see, again, looking back at Kentucky, these still look like they're going to die before they get here. I don't see them making it here. Maybe we could get some widespread showers. Maybe, depending on how they track, Western Kentucky probably would be most at risk for that with the outflow boundary. But I just don't see these even making it to Kentucky to provide any rainfall later today. So that's kind of the setup for today. I still think that this is going to be a widespread damaging wind risk near Madison and Milwaukee, possibly all the way up by Sheboygan. I kind of just wanted to say Sheboygan there, so I'm glad I was able to say that before we got off the live stream. But you'll see these storms are going to push that way through the afternoon. And again, watching that secondary area, we'll see if we're able to destabilize. I'm going to kind of look at a sounding and see the HRRR is predicting instability-wise. That's a pretty good hodograph there. Strong turning of the winds. 2,000. So, yeah, I mean, we still have a chance. But we'll just have to kind of see satellite and radar. If we look at satellite in this area right now, you'll see, again, just lots of cloud cover. Even behind the current MCS, where you would kind of need some of that destabilization here, there's still a lot. But you can kind of see that cumulus here, that the storms that are going to fire north of Kansas City here in the next couple of hours. So, I mean, personally, I think that's the best risk for any possible supercell. And there is an MD on that. So let's go ahead. Tornado watch likely. So the SPC says severe storms capable of very large hail and a few tornadoes and damaging winds are expected. And you can see there's an outflow boundary that are going to spark those storms. You can kind of see that on the satellite here that we were just looking at. So I think we'll have to watch that area kind of behind where you're currently destabilizing behind. Again, if we look at satellite where that MD currently is, that is where you're getting those cloud breaks. Right, so that MCS is kind of pushing here widespread showers and storms and cloud cover to the east of Des Moines. And we look to the west of Des Moines is where you're kind of getting that destabilization for another round of storms as we head into our Wednesday afternoon. So again, that is today. We will have a live chase stream tomorrow. I'm very excited. Haven't been out chasing for a while. Kentucky weather has been very boring. Very boring. I'm sure if you're from Kentucky and you're watching the stream right now, it's probably because you love weather and you have not been able to see or really see any severe weather. I mean, we have not had very much widespread severe weather here in Kentucky. That 77-mile-an-hour wind gust still showing up on radar. And again, that is headed directly into downtown Madison. So I do think there's a significant damaging wind threat heading directly into Madison, and that's actually pushing into Madison right now. Again, you can see if I zoom out a little bit here, you can see that strong bowing segment just to the north of Madison here. And usually right at the center of that bowing segment is where you get your strongest damaging winds. And that looks to push just to the northwest of Madison and just to the southeast of Reedburg. Wisconsin. So that's the area that looks like the most likely for damaging wind gusts there. Kind of check our tornado warning, which looks like it's about to expire. Dodgeville, yeah, it's going to expire 5 minutes, and there's not much rotation at all. So that is what we're looking at currently here. I'll kind of zoom out. If you guys have any questions or anything, please let me know. I'm going to stay on here for a couple of minutes here. And again, the goal for tomorrow is to get, I'm going to try and stream kind of similar to what I'm doing with all these live updates that I've been doing the past couple of weeks, but in a storm chasing fashion. I'm going to bring my laptop and try to get set up where I have a webcam that we can kind of look inside my storm chasing vehicle and we kind of look outside into the storm as well from the webcam. So we'll have that. And then we'll also have the live broadcast tomorrow on the Zero Meter Chasers page, kind of showing radar like I'm doing right now. And then having my updates where me and Corey will kind of talk about what I'm seeing and give you guys live updates. So if you're in Illinois or you have anybody that's in Illinois, please let them know that we will have live updates the next couple of days as active a significant severe weather threat continues for the next couple of days. So again, I appreciate everybody coming in here. I'm going to try and do some of these live videos a little bit more frequently. So I appreciate all the support. Anytime I go live, anytime you guys can just share the stream, like and share, comment, that I would greatly appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions when I get on these live streams, please feel free to comment and interact, because I'm definitely willing to answer any questions that you guys have. So I hope everybody has a great Wednesday afternoon. If you live in Kentucky, make sure you stay hydrated with the ongoing heat wave that we have. And if you live in Illinois, make sure you stay weather aware, as a damaging, significant wind threat looks to unfold as we get into our Wednesday afternoon. So again, live chasing update tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Hope everybody has a great Wednesday. Have a great day.